Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a hand-carved dragon telephone, and this is Bill's telephone. And basically this dragon has kind of been an ongoing repair, just for the simple fact that the board in this telephone wasn't any good and it couldn't be repaired in a reasonable fashion. So basically what happened here is I've spoke with other people, and Bill has another phone like this that doesn't work either. And I've talked to a few people about these telephones. I found a couple people that had them and they don't work either. So basically what it came down to is these telephones didn't really ever last. They were very uniquely carved, and they're wood, but the telephone portion is basically installed by workers, and it's just kind of, after it's hand carved, they stick a telephone in it and kind of try to wire everything up. And basically it was line fed, so that's how it got its power. And so this telephone, finding the exact right board and situation to fit back into the telephone because of all the unique situations and all the different things that you have to look for, out for, and all the obstacles because it was carved for a certain board. And anyway, this speaker phone in this telephone basically probably never did work right. It might have worked for a little while, but from what I understand, most of them have given out long ago. So there's a lot of other videos that we have done at this of this telephone through the past because of the trying to get a board that I feel is going to be worthy and last for Bill. And I was running into the situations where a line-fed board trying to light the dragon's eyes and light the ball of fire here. There's a light here, a red LED, and then there's green dragon eyes that light when you activate the phone. With a line-fed voltage board, it just wasn't working out. There was a loss of line voltage. It would get pulled down trying to run the LEDs, and there was just so much going on that none of the situations ever really worked out properly. So what I came up with is we needed to go to a transformer, a voltage-powered board, and that's what we have done. We just did a video the other day of this phone, and I was kind of in the process of getting the phone wired up, and so we're basically almost all the way there now, and I'm going to show you some things on this telephone that we added to it. And it took a while to try to figure out what I really wanted to do, because I didn't want to change any of the workings of the telephone and start when you're designing something like this from something that's already been carved for another board, and I wanted to make sure that what we were going to use was going to work out. So what I've added here is you're going to see this button and this button and this button, which was added to the situation. And basically, if you didn't know any better, they look like they're supposed to be there. And what we have here is this is the speakerphone button that was original, and then this is a redial button that we have here. This is a volume up, and this is a volume down, and this is a hold button, but it's also the ring level button when the telephone is in the off mode. So if you watch this ball of fire back here, you're going to see the LED activate when I push this button. And I wanted this button to look a little different and be raised a little more than the volume buttons, just for the simple fact that, you know, there's no mistaking it. Now that's a high setting, that's the low setting. High setting, low setting, high setting. So in other words, that's what this telephone's going to sound like when it rings. And so there's your setting button right here for the ring cycle, and then your volume buttons. I would not have designed this telephone the way they did. The microphone is not in a good situation, and neither is the speaker. The speaker actually is on the bottom plate, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And I have a piece of a hot glue stick here simulating like maybe the distance of what the telephone, the height it would sit on, because over here what we have is some parts. And when the telephone came in, the box was damaged, and all we found was 3 of these legs. So there was only 3 legs. And I saved some material because I'm not sure what kind of wood this is, but I saved some of this material that maybe a wood carver or a woodworker could use. And so what I've come up with here is I'm going to run this past Bill. I do believe Bill knows a guy who is a wood carver or a woodworker. And I don't know, I don't mention this too much, but I don't have a problem doing it. I mean, I make furniture, okay, and I don't mention that too often. There's no real reason to, but I do make furniture. I don't have time to do it any longer, but I have made some pretty exclusive pieces. And the thing here is some of the fire has fallen off. This piece here I'm going to show you right now, just real quick, is a piece that is going to go on the speaker, and that'll all make sense here in a minute. This goes on the actual magnet to protect the speaker from the board, because I'm going to open this phone up and show you what it's like now. But some of the fire, there's a piece of fire missing that's on the ball of fire, and then there was 2 pieces that we found. Now we could put that back on, but we have to carve another piece. And you know, to ship this telephone back, to ship it back to Bill, I would hate to really repair the fireball and carve a new piece only to have it break off in shipping again. So basically right in this area there's a piece missing, and then here in the back there was a couple of pieces. And so we have 2 of the pieces, but the 3rd piece we never found, and that's going to have to be recarved and so and put on there. I believe one of the dragon's horns was off, and we also epoxied that on. But you know, a foot pedal is going to have to be made, and a piece of fire. But this is an extra piece that we got out of the inside, and here's a couple of extra pieces that maybe a piece of fire could be made out of. Probably the best thing to do is, now that this telephone is pretty much all the way finished up, go ahead and secure it and send it back to Bill, and then let the friend or the person that Bill knows that's a carver or a woodworker go ahead and repair the phone, you know, where it's from. That way, where he's from, so that way we don't go ahead and repair the woodwork on it and then somehow it get re-damaged in a shipping or something. So that's probably the most feasible ideal here. And so what we're going to do here with this telephone is I'm going to go ahead and do some checks on this telephone. I'm going to go ahead and ring it. What you're going to see is this ball of fire that lights. And then it's on the loud ring setting. And when I answer the phone, you're going to see the dragon's eyes light. Now we're actually on low volume, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit the volume, turn the volume up. We're gonna dial our numbers. And I'm going to end in a 2. I'm going to hang up. Okay, and now I'm going to talk. And what you see there, that red light, that's 100% modulation. But since this is wood, you know, sometimes, you know, the sound doesn't penetrate like it would when it's in plastic. So now we're in a wood situation, and that can be a little different sound. But for the most part, we know the microphone is working, and we've tested it. So another thing that I want to show you is this telephone. Like I said, now this last button here is for the ring cycle volume, but it's also a hold. So if you watch the dragon's eyes, which are lit right now, and I push this, it's going to go into a hold mode. You see the dragon's eyes lighting? They're flashing. It's in the hold mode right now. So we have whoever we're talking to on a regular telephone call, they're in hold right now. And the way to take it off hold is hit the speakerphone button. So now they're not on hold any longer. You can put them on hold. The flashing dragon's eyes are an indication that that person is on hold. And now they're no longer on hold, and you can talk again. Now I'm going to hang the telephone up, and I'm going to turn it on. This is the only way to turn this telephone on. You cannot pick up the handset and turn it on. You have to turn it on here at this speakerphone button. Now what you can do is when you pick up the handset, and we can turn the handset up if we want. I don't know why you'd want to, but so you can control the volume of the handset. Now I have to dial a 2 and go ahead and talk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that the handset is operational and that it is working. This board did not actually have a handset that came with it. This was just a speakerphone board, but I had to be careful of the size of a board. This board almost didn't fit. I had to cut this board down some, trim it down just to make it fit into the telephone. So what I did then was on the hook switch here that's under the handset, what I did was on a switch, I created a situation where you break the microphone and speaker from the speakerphone and then activate a microphone and speaker in the handset so that the handset could still be used, because I wanted to try to give Bill a handset. He was more interested in the speakerphone option, but I wanted to also be able to give him a handset, and so we were able to sneak that away. Now you notice I hung up the handset, but the eyes are still green, so the only thing Bill's going to have to remember to do is hang the phone up. As long as the eyes are green and you want to hang the phone up, just like if we did this, just hang it up, and that's all you have to do. And that's a very small fallback compared to what ended up really happening to happen with this whole situation, because it was an ongoing issue with trying to get the proper situation for the proper design and a board that would fit and be reliable. And so anyway, here's your 3 added buttons. And basically you can't really tell any difference other than they weren't there to begin with. They're basically the same color. I mentioned on a video the way I did this was I took dowel rod and I made the buttons off the keypad for this and actually burnt the wood a little bit, and it just made it the same color. Now this one's a little lighter because this button I wanted to stand out a little bit, because this is your your hold button, and your ring cycle high and low volume. And actually, if you look at parts of this wood, it is the same color as some of the other parts of the wood, basically. So you really wouldn't even know that this telephone wasn't designed without them. And that's why I wanted to make up my mind how you wanted to do things and come up with a decent design, because when you start cutting on these telephones and then the board that you're using isn't going to work, well then you have a bunch of leftover problems and holes, and so this was the most feasible and viable logical situation that we could come up with. And so everything works off momentary switches, and it works off the CPU. So that's the telephone. Now what we want to do is I'm going to take the telephone and I'm going to switch it over into a regular line. And I want to make a call, say, to Walmart.
Thank you for calling Walmart.
I guess they're on break. Okay, let's call another Walmart.
Thank you for calling Walmart.
Guess they're on break too.
Thanks for calling Double Walmart. How may I help you?
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. Can I get a hold of electronics real quick?
Sure. Please hold.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yakety yak. Now they're on break. Oh well. Let's call let's try another number here.
Thanks for Radio Shack. This is Cody. How can I help you?
Hi, Cody. Do you guys have any hand-carved dragon telephones?
Any what? I'm sorry?
Hand-carved dragon telephones?
No.
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay. Can you order one?
I'll have to check. You mind holding for a minute?
Oh, that's okay. I'll see you. Sounds like he was a little busy. This is why you never get anything done.
Thanks for calling Radio Shack. This is Carolyn. How can I help you?
Hi, Carolyn. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do you guys have any hand-carved speaker phones up there from China?
No, we don't.
They're like a dragon phone?
No?
Oh, somebody said you guys had a hand-carved dragon phone from China.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, you have a nice day. What was your name again?
Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been a big help, Carolyn, and you have a fantastic day, okay?
Thank you, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye now. Okay. Well, we know Radio Shack doesn't carry them, and I don't think Wally World carried them either. So basically, I think that the telephone is usable. It's probably at the best it's gonna ever be. So, you know, I'm a little concerned with the wood because of the fact of the speaker sound and that. And, you know, when you're using a speakerphone, you have different situations and people have different phones. So, you know, you're always going to have that time or two where you're not going to hear them very well, or they're not going to hear you, or whatever. But I like these things to be 100%. I'm going to set the video down real quick because I want to show you and give you a last look here at the bottom of the telephone. We are going to wrap a few things up on this telephone, and one of them would be, so I want to turn this around real gently. I want to show you, give you a look at what the board looked like. This is the back of the telephone, and this is where we installed our modular. This simply unplugs, and so that gives you kind of a look at the power supply. This just plugs in right here, and we had to mount a power port, and you just simply unplug it like you would any speakerphone or answering machine. I kind of have the back of this taped a little bit because I don't have the feet on it yet. But what I want to do is show you the board that we installed inside, and I'm going to have to secure the speaker. And I just have a piece of tape over it because I didn't want it to fall, and I wanted to protect it from the board. So this gives you a look at the speaker, and this is where the original speaker was, and it just fits in the little indentation that the original designer made. And so we're going to put some supports here to keep the speaker in, but I want to put this piece of tape over it because that's where this piece comes in. I want to be able to put that over the speaker so that it doesn't short the board out, because we don't have much traveling distance here. So we'll get this out of the way, and I want to show you the inside of the board. This is how it all turned out, and as you can see, it's a very tight fit. So basically it all worked out, and I'm going to go ahead and close it.